retreats, rolling out, lofts it into the end zone, touchdown. Complete, Hammond, touchdown. Corey Davis for the touchdown.
Yes, college football is in full swing. Welcome into our ASN Football Showcase. He is former Marshall University and NFL running back Doug Chapman, as well as our college football analyst. I'm just Jorge Andres. Summer's almost coming to an end. Football season is here. Doug, are you excited as I am?
It makes me want to strap on the pads and put on the helmet. But the way these hamstrings are set up, I ain't got nothing left in the tank, man. All I can do is watch. I'm fired up. Let's get this thing started.
Let's get it going right here at the American Sports Network. We've got you covered all season long on all things college football this year, especially the Group of 5 conferences like the American, Conference USA, the MAC, the Sun Belt, and the Mountain West. And, of course, we will be talking about the hottest topics in the Power 5 conferences as well. And speaking of the American, let's talk about Greg Ward Jr. The Houston quarterback has energized this Cougars team, and people are excited about what is to come this year. This senior threw for over 2,800 yards last year, along with 17 touchdowns. He was a dual threat as he rushed for over 1,100 yards and 21 touchdowns as well. You can say he's coming into his own in that offense. At least that's what his coach Tom Herman thinks of him.
I think he feels a lot more comfortable in the offense and in his own skin, so that now he can become more of a vocal leader and start making the players around him better. He's a pleaser, he's a grinder, he's a competitive sucker, you know, and to a fault sometimes, because I think he's very hard on himself. You know, we're working on that, but at the end of the day, you'd rather it that way than the other, and I can't tell you how much fun it is to coach him and just watch his growth throughout the year and a half that we've been around him.
All right, so it's clear that Coach Herman has confidence in his quarterback. This is a Houston team that finished ranked 8th in the nation after last year. People are talking about them breaking into that playoff picture. So with that said, Doug, is this their division to lose?
It absolutely is. 13-1 last season, a convincing victory over FSU in the Peach Bowl. Tom Herman's squad doesn't just have plans to win the American. They're looking to get into the college football playoff, open with Oklahoma, neutral site game at Houston Texans Stadium. That's basically a home game for them. Their fans will be there. They control their own destiny if they win that game. Even a good loss, nice close loss to Oklahoma, can get them in the thing. I tell you, Ward is the key to their success. He stays healthy, they got a chance.
Let's shift gears and take a look at Conference USA, a conference that the Hilltoppers won last year. Doug, what are you expecting out of this conference?
I'm expecting to see a competitive league that once again is highlighted by excellent quarterback play, especially in the East.
That's right. Let's talk about the East specifically, that Eastern division the defending conference champion Western Kentucky come out of, but one that hosts plenty of great competition, like you mentioned, Doug. You know, you got Middle Tennessee, you got Marshall. So with that said, Chep, how do you see this division playing out?
You got to get the nod to the Thunder and Herd out of the East, which is this season will be the stronger division. Chase Litton had a fantastic freshman year and will only be better this year with a year of experience under his belt. Looking at Middle Tennessee State, Brent Stockstill, another young quarterback in that division, had a monster freshman season for the Blue Raiders. Throws for over 4,000 yards and 30 TDs. He and wide receiver Richie James are one of the best duos in all of college football, Jorge Andres. Western Kentucky will be tough. No Brandon Dowdy, but they return 12 starters, 8 on offense. You can't count the Hilltoppers out, like FIU as well, too.
All right, so there's the East. Let's look at the West, a bigger gap between the top and the bottom. What do you see here?
I see this side should be much simpler. I'm going to tell you why, because Southern Miss should take the division, to be honest with you. Quarterback Nick Mullins, he's not just one of the best in the conference. He's one of the best in the nation. You may not have heard of him. Coach Jay Thompson inherits 13 starters. La Tech will be tough. They got huge holes to fill with the loss of Driscoll and running back Kenneth Dixon. Rice will be improved this season, but road trips to Western Kentucky, Southern Miss, and La Tech's going to be tough. Watch out for North Texas. That's my team to watch. They won one game last year, man. They got to do better than that. 1-11. They got to do better than that.
All right, we talk about Mullins. Chaps thinks he's a star. You know what? So does head coach Jay Hobson.
Nick is, again, we could sit here for an hour and a half to 2 hours and just let me sing his praises. I mean, Nick is, I think he's an NFL quarterback all the way. He's an outstanding football player. He eats, drinks, sleeps football. And just, he's a guy that you love. I wish he was a freshman, Doug, not a senior, but the fact is, we're blessed to have him, and certainly he's a guy we count on for big plays.
All right, everyone is high on Nick Mullins. I mean, how could you not? 4,400 yards passing, 38 touchdowns, a phenomenal player. Doug, you said you love him, but why should doubters start loving Nick Mullins?
I'll tell you about what's not to love. Only 5 quarterbacks threw for more yards than Mullins did last season. He was 4th in the nation with 38 TD passes. I played for Coach Hobson at Marshall and got a chance to catch up with him in Dallas. He saw that at the Conference USA Media Days. He compares Mullins to Chad Pennington. Said he loves his poise and leadership. He's got big game experience and can dictate what coverages can do defensively because he can make every single throw. He's not a very tall guy, but he sees the field very, very well. I don't care what conference you follow. At the end of this football season, you're going to know who Nick Mullins is.
All right, let's talk about the MAC Conference, a conference Bowling Green won last year. Northern Illinois, also a team that played very well, but this year all eyes are on Western Michigan, who finished 6-2 in conference play last year. The college football world really feels that this year will be the year the Broncos race to the top, and it's all because of the culture Coach P.J. Fleck has been developing for years now.
Every year we have a new motto and a new theme. Year 1 was just row, just teach our culture. That was it. We went 1-11, but the culture was laid. And then year 2, we taught them how to compete. We didn't even teach them how to win. We do not talk about winning in our program. We talk about the process of winning. And year 3 last year was about competition. Or not competition, but I'm sorry, expectation. And because now all of a sudden they won, came off a bowl game loss, and people expected a lot of things. And we ended up having 21 nevers accomplished, 21 firsts, if you will. And so this year's all about pressure. It's been fun to watch the growth of the culture. Wins will never define us, ever. Rings will never define us, ever. It's the process of developing people. And if you continue to develop a culture, develop those people to be the best they possibly can, the results will come.
A lot of excitement in the voice of Coach Fleck there. Let's break down this Western Michigan team. A big reason why the Broncos have been so good in the MAC is because of that great play by Zach Terrell and Corey Davis. Doug, one of the best duos perhaps in the country. In your opinion, are they the best duo in this conference and in the nation?
Find me 2 better, Jorge. At Marshall, I played with a pretty good quarterback and wide receiver duo in Randy Moss and Chad Pennington.
I know those guys.
And it's that thing what made them so good is they knew what the other one was going to do without even having to talk. Davis and Terrell have that same chemistry. Remember now, this duo lit up Michigan State last year. Davis had 10 catches for $154 and a TD, while Terrell threw for 365 and 2 scores. These guys can flat out play, and arguably, you find me one better, Jorge Andres. They're the best wide receiver quarterback duo in the nation.
Only time will tell how great this Broncos team is this coming season. All right, much more to come on our ASN Football Showcase, including who will emerge out of the Sun Belt Conference. Will it be Arkansas State, Appalachian State, or a surprise team this year? We'll break down the conference next. Plus, how will Southland's conference opponents stop Lamar's Cade Harrington? We go in between the tackles and dissect the star running backs game on the other side of the break. And don't forget to give us a follow on social media at Live on ASN on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Check out the website at AmericanSportsNet.com as well. The American Sports Network, your home for all things college football. Full slate of football coming your way. Opening weekend Saturday, September 3rd. First at noon, it's Boise State taking on Louisiana Lafayette. And then at 3:30, Gardner-Webb facing the Phoenix of Elon. And at 7, SMU, North Texas, Towson, USF, and Tuskegee takes on Clark, Atlanta. Welcome back to our ASN Football Showcase. Let's preview the Sun Belt Conference, a conference last year that was won by Arkansas State. Doug, do you see them repeating again this year, or do you see the likes of Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, or any other with a shot?
This is one of my favorite conferences to follow. Arkansas State has won or shared 4 of the last 5 conference titles and returned 13 starters, so they'll be my favorite. But you know what? My real reason I want these guys to win, I'm going to tell you why. I want to have a reason to say these names. They got a running back named Silky White.
Yes.
Wide receiver named Dijon Pascal. Cornerback Blaze Taylor. Strong safety named Money Hunter. And a D lineman named, guess what, Jorge?
What's that?
D-liner. I just want a reason to say those guys' names. Seriously, though, Appalachian State is the team to beat this year. The Mountaineers, they get 15 starters back. Led on offense by quarterback Taylor Lamb. Last year threw for 31 TDs. And running back Marcus Cox, he had 1,400 yards on the ground. They should again have the #1 offense in the conference. They will miss Ronald Blair on defense, but Eric Boggs and Josh Law anchor a fantastic linebacking core. Georgia Southern and Louisiana Lafayette will be tough, but I got to roll with these Mountaineers.
Yeah, I want to hit you back on the Mountaineers. Yeah, Appalachian State only had one loss, conference loss last year. That, of course, to the eventual conference champion Arkansas State. How do you see that specific game? Would the conference be decided between them?
Revenge game. When I was in the Southern Conference playing at Marshall, Appalachian State was our rival. If you beat them the year prior, you better have your chin strap buckled up because they're going to come for you. I guarantee you the Mountaineers will be ready for Arkansas State.
Circle that date. That will be the game to watch. Time now to shift gears and talk about the FCS and the teams and players that will be making an impact this year, starting with Cade Harrington, a running back that has been a nightmare for defenses. Harrington rushed for over 2,000 yards and 21 touchdowns last season. Southland Conference coaches know they have their hands full. Just hear them sound off on how to stop Harrington.
I'd be going to my offense coordinator and begging him to run the football and keep him off the field, number one.
I used to hear people talk about when they played Michael Jordan. You realize that maybe he was going to get his, but you couldn't let Scottie Pippen kill you, and you couldn't let Steve Kerr kill you, whatever. And that may be the way it is a little bit with Cade, because that young man is unbelievable, with his hands on the football.
He's special. He's fun to watch play if you're not coaching, So I enjoyed watching him play against other people, not against my own team.
Man, I don't think you can stop him. I am a Cade Harrington fan, and I think he is the best player in the country. He proved that. He's going to run over you. He's going to run around you. He is all as advertised, and what you got to try to limit his big plays.
All right, so you heard what each coach would do to stop, or at least attempt to stop Cade Harrington. Now, you were a former NFL and collegiate running back at the University of Marshall University, rather. So you understand this position. So with that said, how would you stop a running back like Cade Harrington?
Put some extra guys on the field. If you play with 12 or 13 guys, then you can stop him. But seriously, though, a back like Harrington, you have to try to contain him. Your front has to be gap sound. Your linebackers have to fill and not stretch out and overrun the zone. Eliminate chunk plays, the 10 to 15 yard plus runs. You got to stop those. Listen, I don't care what level of college football you're talking about. When a back puts up over $2 grand on the ground, you got to respect that, Jorge. And when you look how he did it last season, 5 games over 200 yards rushing. He tore through Abilene Christian for 347. You have to game plan for a runner like Harrington. Prevent the chuck runs. Keep him inside. Corralled in, average 7.9 yards per carry. The most impressive thing about this guy from this little tiny school named Lamar, you know what?
What's that?
They played Baylor. He had 16 carries, about 56 yards. If they could have kept running the ball, he would have had 100 yards rushing against a Big 12 defense. The kid's the real deal. If you can this season, make sure you watch him play.
Now, is he a type of runner that's a downhill runner, a speed runner? What kind of style does he run?
Very much a slasher in between the tackles. He's a shorter back, gets lost behind the guard in the zone. And by the time you as a linebacker try to find him, he's on your toes. He's quick enough to cut. And he's got the speed to take it to the house. Tough enough inside to get the tough yards, but can get outside on the stretch to toss the read option and make you really hurt.
Give credit to that offensive line, too. Open up those holes for one Cade Harrington. Let's talk about North Dakota State now, FCS national champions last year after a 37-10 victory over the top seed Jacksonville State Gamecocks. This team was the 3 seed in the FCS playoffs and scored an average of 32.5 points in the entire postseason, including that 27-point victory over those Gamecocks. They return this year looking to run the table again and take care of business. Chap, get this. The Bison are 71-5 since their first national championship in 2011. They returned 14 starters this year. The question is very simple. Can they repeat this season, Chap?
Jorge, I don't bet, and I do not condone betting on games, but after what I've seen the last 5 seasons, why would you bet against these guys? Smart money says they can make it 6 straight with Easton Stick at quarterback, who went 8-0 last year, filled in for Carson Wentz, who's now in the NFL. He's the next superstar in Fargo, but out of the Southland, Sam Houston, they're going to be tough. Jacksonville State's going to be tough out of the OVC. Quarterback, Eli Jenkins is a bad boy. Watch out for him. Watch out also for quarterback Kyle Luetta from Richmond out of the CAA. They'll be very tough. But I'm going to tell you one thing, Jorge. I'm going to have my eye on a Patriot League. Running back Chase Edmonds of Fordham in 2 seasons as a Ram, rushed for over 3,400 yards and 49 total touchdowns. He's a human highlight reel. If you get a chance, watch him. I called a game for his a couple years ago. The kid is a beast, not big, but will kill you if you give him the ball.
Let me ask you this, Chad. You mentioned Carson Wentz, his departure to the National Football League. Now you get Easton Stick. He goes in there. He's the man under center. He's the guy that's going to take control and take care of everything. How does a team adjust to now that quarterback style of play to make sure that the team doesn't miss a beat next year?
Well, you adjust in practice, but the good thing is they had 8 wins under their belt last year with him as a starter. So you've seen a sample of what Easton Stick brings to the table. And plus, he's the most highly recruited player to ever go to North Dakota State University, including Carson Wentz, who was, just a second pick in the draft. So this kid's pretty good. I think they'll be fine on offense. They got to find some ways to plug some holes in that defensive front. But don't be surprised if you see them with a 6th ring. I won a national championship at Marshall at the FCS level. It's not it's not easy to do. And I'm telling you one thing, they can go out and get 6. My hat goes off for those guys.
All eyes on the Bison this coming year. All right, still to come. Can Greg Ward Jr. and Houston jump into the conversation for a national title? We'll tell you how they can jump in the mix on the other side of the break. The American Sports Network, your home for all things college football on Saturday, September 3rd. Boise State visits Louisiana Lafayette at noon. Then at 3:30, Gardner Webb travels to Elon. And finally, at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, North Texas takes on SMU. Welcome back into our ASN Football Showcase. Let's talk about the Power 5 football conferences and predict who will be crowned champions. So let's get your analysis, Doug Chapman, and start with the ACC. Who do you have at the top?
I'm about to make Uncle Luke real happy because the U is back. Brad Kaya is the best quarterback in the ACC. You heard me right, Deshaun Watson. Kaya is the most NFL ready. Mark Richt, new head coach. Coral Gables is excited. Watch out for that U this year.
The SEC always a conference that's in the conversation. Who's the top dog here?
Got to roll tide again. Jalen Hurst, the freshman, looks like he's going to be the starter. They talk about all these quarterback problems they've been having. Coker comes and gets the job done last year. Blake Sims a couple years ago. Nick Saban, only 7 losses in the last 5 years. He won't have many more this year. Roll tide, roll.
A lot of marquee teams in the Big Ten. Who's your pick?
I got to go with Ohio State. J.T. Barrett back as the full-time quarterback. Lost a lot of talent, Ohio State did, but Urban Meyer just reloads with 4 and 5-star talent. There'll be new faces and new places that'll be superstars. Ohio State wins the Big Ten.
Let's go out west of the Pac-12. Who do you like here?
I like Stanford. They've got the best, most versatile player in all of college football. It'll be tough, though. They have road trips to UCLA, Washington, Oregon, and Arizona. They get a replacement for Hogan at quarterback. Turn around, give the ball to McCaffrey.
Yes.
He's the best. Give that boy the Heisman. He'll carry them this year.
What about the Big 12? Whose year is it this time?
I got to go with Oklahoma, man. They got to the college football playoff last year. Baker Mayfield at quarterback, Samaje Perine at running back. That offense will be fantastic, and they'll be very aggressive on defense. Coach Stoops knows how to get those boys up there. Oklahoma will be tough, but if they slip against Houston, then they got to fall right up out of there. But right now, they're my pick.
Finally, let's dissect the college football independents. Who's your pick here?
Got to go with Notre Dame. I like what they're doing there. I like BYU as well. Both teams have 2 quarterbacks that could start anywhere in college football, but I got to give the nod to Notre Dame. They've got a little more experience there. They've got guys that have played before, and they're better on defense. Got to go with the Irish.
All right, now let's look at, talk more about the college football playoffs, and specifically the group of 5 conferences. Doug, do you see any of these schools jumping into the playoff mix and maybe throwing a wrench in the whole thing?
We're going to beat this thing over the head. I'm telling you. Houston can jump in there. They're in prime position to make some noise week 1 if they get by Oklahoma or possibly have one of those early season good losses, run through the remainder of their American Conference schedule. A healthy Greg Ward is in Tom Herman's scheme. I think they've got a legit shot. And I tell you who else has one. Boise State. They've got Washington State and BYU on their schedule. Out of the Mountain West, if they run the table, you have to look at the Broncos. They used to be the BCS crashers when it was the BCS. Now it's a college football playoff. They could be the college football playoff bashers. Watch out for the Broncos.
All right, let's look at our opening weekend. Look at all the games on your screen. What is the game to watch, Chapman? What are you circling here?
For the 3rd time. Watch that Oklahoma-Houston game because Houston could get it done against the Sooners. Watch out for big things there. Love LSU in neutral site games. That game's in Lambeau Field, a home game for Wisconsin, but they might get their butts rocked out there in the state of Wisconsin. USC, are they back from the sanctions? And is Bama going to look like Alabama week 1, or we got to wait to see the freshman quarterback develop? Notre Dame and Texas. Notre Dame wins this one, but I want to see Charlie Strong in year 3, got more of his players in there. Does he have the quarterback situation straight? Speaking of quarterbacks, DeAndre Francois, Florida State. Can he get the job done versus Ole Miss? Looks like he's going to be the starter. McGuire's out.
Quickly, who's on upset alert week 1?
I tell you, man, I'm going to say this one more time.
Fourth time?
Will you please listen to me? Oklahoma, watch out. Houston is ready to roll. They have a fantastic team. They can outpace you. And if you're not ready, week 1, those first week games, that's the games you got. You don't want to play a team like Houston out the gate. Oklahoma, brave choice, but you might take an L.
Fantastic week 1 of college football. And don't forget, on Saturday, September 3rd, Boise State visits Louisiana Lafayette at noon. Then at 3:30, Gardner Webb and Elon. And finally at 7, North Texas takes on SMU. All games right here on ASN. Welcome back to our ASN Football Showcase. With the college football season right around the corner, it's time to field the question. We urge you to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to check out your favorite players field the question of how they will overcome the challenges and be crowned champions. It's all on social media, not live on ASN. All right, Chapman, quickly, let's get your thoughts on the college football playoffs and predict who will be the last 4 teams standing. With that said, what's your prediction?
I'm grabbing the crystal ball, looking in the future. I got 2 teams out of the ACC, Miami out of the Coastal Division, Clemson out of the Atlantic. They don't face each other during the regular season. We'll meet for the ACC championship game in Charlotte. One of those teams will have 1 loss. You're taking both of them. Houston Cougars, you know why they're going to be in, Jorge?
Why is that?
We didn't talk about it all day because they're going to beat Oklahoma week 1, and Alabama Crimson Tide, even with 1 loss, they get in. No Big 10, no Big 12, no Pac-12. That's your 4 right there.
All right, the games are on your screen are right here on the American Sports Network, the family of networks. You know what? I'm keeping an eye on this USF and Towson game. USF could get upset. That game, 7 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday.
I'm watching Boise State flying across the country to Louisiana, taking on the Raging Cajuns. I'm telling you, watch out. Those cross time zone games at noon, early kickoff. Those young boys ain't awake yet, Jorge. Might be taking an L.
It's fantastic. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Doug Chapman, I'm Jorge Andres. Make sure you keep it locked right here on the American Sports Network, your home for all things college football.